Afternoon, folks. Brian here, Geomagnetic Earthwatch on Sunday, January 21, 2024 on our planet. Hope you're all well. So we now have some timing of some space weather coming in, CME impacts from those C-class flares coming in. So let's go through it. Now, please keep in mind that this forecasting has a margin of error of plus or minus 6 hours. So this may not be exact. So let's go through it. So it would appear our coronal mass ejections are going to break apart before hitting the Earth, so we will not receive as much of an impact in the plasma density. That's still a ways out, so things could still change. So we are forecasted for G2, moderate geomagnetic storm. Let's go through the timing. So I'm just going to let this run while I speak. So actually, we're going to have two hits. First one, a very minor one, then a heavier hit. Let's go through these timings. So the first minor hit, it's going to peak actually on the 22nd, tomorrow, at 1200 UTC time. So that's noon universal time. The next one, so the start is actually going to be on Monday the 22nd, pardon me, at 0900 UTC, so 9 a.m. UTC. So if I'm on the west coast of Canada, I'm minus 8 hours, so 1 a.m. in the morning. It's going to peak on Tuesday the 23rd at midnight UTC. So again, for me on the west coast of Canada, it's actually going to be on the 22nd at 4 p.m. And it's going to ease off on the 23rd, Tuesday, at 1 p.m. UTC. Now, if I'm not mistaken, actually, these two CMEs inbound that I just showed you is the long duration C flare I spoke of yesterday, followed by a shorter duration C5 flare. However, subsequent to that modeling, we have some more activity getting up to the C7 range. And actually, we've had a half a dozen flares since then. So we've had a C4, C6, C6, and a couple of 2s. Let's go take a look. So our long duration here, our shorter duration, larger spike, and we've had some subsequent flaring. This one here. Now, there is no region assigned to this one. So this is 3555, the long duration flare. We have a region here. However, something just finished popping off right here. Right there. Yeah, sorry for the background light from my blinds there. I don't have a high-tech observatory like that guy in Comfort fraud, con man, thief. But I know you only come here to look at my shirts. Anyway, let's get on with it. So like I said, there's always a margin of error plus or minus 6 hours. It all depends on the space weather environment. You know what? A larger flare can pop off and come up behind those first two and give it a kick in the butt and say, get going faster. Then we have a cannibal CMEs. So basically, there are 3 phases to a flare. The X-ray burst, the light that we see that I showed you, that sometimes we can feel if it's large enough. Sometimes we can have the acceleration of proton levels, radiation storm, such as that X5 flare. So the CME didn't hit us, but the proton radiation hit us. And then finally, not always, but sometimes we have a coronal mass ejection, such as we're going to be getting. So again, the G2 moderate geomagnetic storm is forecasted. Please remember, our protective shields are down by 25 to 30%. Now, as far as which side of the Earth is going to get hit and impacted the most, you know, it depends on the orientation and connections of Earth's magnetic field lines and that of the CME. However, as we have seen, when the daytime side of the Earth gets hit, shortly afterwards, we have a substantial earthquake. So going back to the last CME hit, about 3 Philippine earthquakes ago. Remember, and I forgot to do the daytime map, I'll show you. Remember I said, you know, let's watch Philippines, and then sure enough, they had a major earthquake there. This is why I issue a day-side forecast, which side is going to get hit. We also have the compression of the magnetic field lines, the our protective magnetic field, the bow shock. So as that CME is pounding us and pounding us and pounding us, it's compressing the magnetic field lines further and further towards Earth. If you watched Star Trek before, shields up, Scotty, so the shields go up around the Starship Enterprise as the Klingon is firing his photon torpedoes, and every time a photon torpedo hits the Enterprise, the shields get weaker. Oh, 80%, Captain. Ah, bang. Oh, 60%, Captain. Ah, bang. Another one, 40%. Our shields are going down. That's what happens when we get an Earth-side hit from a CME on our shields. Decompression. Now, that magnetic field from the CME, the charged particles, will also wrap around the Earth, right? They can come around the dark side as well. But again, as we've seen, and this is why I'll put out the dayside impact zone. Well, actually, I'll just tell you now. For the first CME hit, the little one, the impact is going to be Africa, dayside. And then the larger one is going to be, the focal point will be Fiji. So you can consider Fiji, New Zealand, Solomon Islands, maybe Hawaii will be on the day side. On Tuesday 23rd at midnight UTC. It's only 4 minutes. Okay. So let's quickly go through the health impacts, what we feel. So again, our brains and our hearts operate off of electrochemical signals. So you introduced highly charged particles, that's going to mess us up. We're going to experience a whole lot. So let's go through neurological headaches, migraines, including people who are not predisposed to headaches and migraines, periods of dizziness, vertigo, tinnitus, ringing in the ears, general feeling of unwell, maybe some visual problems. Neuropsychological, things that make us go cuckoo. So those are, actually, hang on, let me stick on physiological. Joint pain, skin irritations, burning sensation, gastrointestinal issues. We had a lot of absorption from that X5 radiation storm, well over 24 hours. And my bowels really absorbed it. Heart issues, palpitations, arrhythmias. Pay attention to people with heart conditions. MS, arthritic flare-ups, fatigue, exhaustion, sleep issues. Now let's get into the cuckoo part of it. Mood swings, irritable, argumentative, very easily triggered, increased sensitivity, confusion, anxiety, worrying, depression, sadness, despair. You can have racing thoughts, speedy racing thoughts, or you can just have a complete slowdown, brain fogging. You stop thinking. Cognitive deficits, or cognitive functions, or your ability to think, reason, problem solve can all be affected. People can also experience extreme rage, violence, suicidal thoughts. There's always increased admissions to hospitals, psych departments. Now, as I often commonly refer you people, please pay attention to the people with mental health issues, autistic spectrum disorder, ADHD, schizophrenia, depression, anxiety, OCD, can all be amplified. It can trigger him into violent acts of rage. They don't realize what they're doing. Have some compassion, understanding. And again, we have the timing. So where and when you can, try and plan for a relaxing day. Don't start up a conversation with your wife which you know could precipitate an argument, for example. Hold off on those discussions. Try not to do anything mentally stressing. How am I going to pay my bills? Try and plan for an easy day. Relax. Go for a swim. Read a book. Take an extra nap, etc. That's about it for now. I know there will be some changes, and I'll be back then. So we do have some more active regions. There's going to be more. It's going to be Earth-facing for a while. So we have 3 areas now facing us. We already have some induced pressure of the outer core, such as I've showed you of all these earthquakes globally. Now, after the time of impact of a coronal mass ejection, it takes time for the absorption of that energy, those highly charged particles, to get down through the crust to the outer core. It takes time. Therefore, anywhere from 12 to 72 hours after a CME impact, then we could expect an increase in earthquakes, volcanic eruptions. 9 minutes. Let's go for another couple more minutes. No, I'll do this in another video. I'm running out of shirts. I'm going to order some more from Indonesia for you, all right? Okay, that's it for now.